Looking at Rembrandt's paintings, one discovers a new kind of beauty. Rembrandt's aesthetic is unique. His appreciation of beauty transcends form and develops into a compassionate awareness. Here's Rembrandt's painting of the Syndics. It's a mirror of presence. Everyone is awake in this painting. All eyes are turned towards you. You enter a space where you are instantly recognized, welcomed, and accepted. The form, the subject of the painting, is not mystical. These men are officials in the wool business. But the state they share and share with you is eternal. Here is presence, communicable but unnameable, indirect yet definite. Rembrandt's aesthetic value is very different from the graceful formality of the Renaissance. He is a painter of being. As such, his paintings often take the form of a raw, elemental work, as though he were painting his subject from the inside out. Very different from the classical form cultivated in Renaissance art. Yet, in comparing Rembrandt with his contemporaries and his place in the history of art, the balance of beauty and being is exactly right. The one cannot do without the other. As a painter, Rembrandt is technically brilliant. Exceptional portraits, huge tableaus, opulent detail. He was able to paint light, contained light, refracted light, reflected light. And then, for whatever reason, his paintings develop an exclusive, compassionate depth. The detail of his paintings are not so much connected to objects, but to emotion. And even very swift, emotional states are seen very deeply. Classic painting is full of symbolic language, largely forgotten in the modern era. Symbols are a way of telling a story. Here in this painting of the Holy Family, the lily is a symbol of Mary's virtue, the 3 cherries of paradise, and Mary's unreal breast, the milk of paradise. In this painting of Mary Magdalene, Mary's hair is tied and braided in the lemsicot, a symbol of infinity. The west wind blows her yellow veil out straight, and behind her is the coast of Provence. The form and symbolic language are delightful. As with this painting of the 3 kings, a language of beauty, sophisticated, amazingly detailed, tireless, in occupying every part of the canvas. Rembrandt's stories of beautiful, virtuous women are told in a single, unveiled moment. Here, the moment of sacrifice, making Lucretia's story eternal. After being violated by Tarquin, Lucretia takes her own life to preserve her honor. Bathsheba reads a letter from King David that offers her no alternative but to give herself to him. Susanna's last private moment before she discovers others spying on her. In his use of light and dark, Rembrandt gives his subjects the sense of arriving from somewhere, rather than lying flat on a gallery wall. Lucas Cranach's portrait of a cat-like girl, richly dressed, essentially uninterested in anything but her appearance. The background flat, neutral. This portrait of a wealthy man in fur and gold chains with the emblems of his jousting club. The background a forget-me-not blue. This painter cleverly double frames his subject so that she stands out more. The background decorative green. In this portrait, a young woman offers herself in marriage by holding a sketch of the virtuous Lucretia. The background hints at a mystical light. A contemporary of Rembrandt, Anthony van Dyck, ignores the background to concentrate on the sensitivity of this portrait. In this self-portrait, the Latin inscription reads, "Be silent or let your words be worth more than silence." The background, a storm-ridden sky. And in the era of painting after Rembrandt, this portrait of Wellington shows a wonderful alertness, where the background says little. Rembrandt's subjects, whether himself or others, arrive as though freed from darkness. In this self-portrait, it's as though he's waiting for you to arrive, that you are late for an appointment with the present. One has to prepare oneself to enter this portrait. Perhaps because beauty draws you in, but truth you have to accept. His self-portrait as the Apostle Paul, a quizzical account of the experience of martyrdom. Rembrandt understood. Suffering produces the best in us. In this self-portrait, endurance. One thinks of Rilke's, "If drinking is bitter to you, turn yourself to wine." And in this final self-portrait, the year that Rembrandt died, a certain kind of happiness. This painting of Lucretia, so beautiful, the portrait of a positive emotion. And then with Rembrandt, something pure, noble, and raw in Lucretia's sacrifice. But Rembrandt wants to get closer to the subject, perhaps because of the difference between thought and action. In this beautiful painting of Bathsheba, it's quite clear why King David would desire her. But Rembrandt wants a deeper understanding. In an earlier painting of Bathsheba, he uses a slight trick to get the viewer's attention. Bathsheba aware of the viewer, even coy. Then later, here is Bathsheba herself, in the moment that she understands, even appreciates her conflict, a conflict which makes her even more beautiful, even more reason for King David to desire her. Which is why the moment is the best story in Rembrandt's paintings. In the story of Susanna, one finds oneself as a voyeur. What is Rembrandt saying about that secret part in us that spies on others? In The Jewish Bride, tenderness is doubled in the tender beauty of their hair and in the tender moment between them. For God so loved the world. In Bathsheba, there are two worlds. The serving woman in contented imagination, and Bathsheba, her face beautiful from her dilemma and the beginning of transformation. And returning to the syndics, the moment itself is the mirror.